You ever get sick of those annoying neighbor kids? They won't stop climbing on your car and chasing your dog and leaving chocolatey fingerprints all over your mailbox? And because we're all mature members of society, we don't go around punching children. Seriously, if you're considering punching children, don't do it. But wouldn't it be nice, though, if you had some way to stop all the annoying behavior and damage that those irritating neighbor kids are constantly causing? But it's not like you can just drag kids into court and sue them, right? Well, as it turns out, you can. And not just sue them, you can win. So why does everyone think you can't take a kid to court? Where did that idea come from? Well, most of the information roots from the fact that children are minors, and minors have different rights than adults. They can't drive, get married, drink alcohol, get tattoos, or make certain other important decisions without the supervision and permission of an adult guardian, usually their parents. Many people think that must mean that a child can't sue someone or be sued by someone, and that's where the mix-up is. They definitely can, they just don't have the legal capacity to do it in their own names. Think of it like this: an 11-year-old girl can't go to watch an R-rated movie by herself in the movie theater, but a legal guardian can make the decision to take her to that movie. Going to court is like going to an R-rated movie. She can go with the legal guardian like a parent. Another reason people think you can't sue a child is because there's not really anything to sue them for. What do you get if you win? Their allowance? Their PlayStation? With an adult, you can garnish their wages until you're paid back, but kids don't have jobs, at least not in places with child labor laws. And it's not easy to get a child's parents to pay either. Many states have rules that say parents are not liable for the wrongdoings of their children except in extreme cases. Most people think parents have to be responsible for what their children do, but the law says, meh, not really. But let's be honest, if you're suing a kid, you're not doing it to get rich. You're doing it to teach that little creep a lesson, right? So let's look at the 8 ways that you have a good chance of winning a lawsuit against that annoying child of your choosing. Number 1, sue that kid for defamation. You've heard the word before, but what exactly does it mean? Well, defamation is when someone communicates false information about you, often publicly, that hurts your reputation. And since we're talking about kids here, the false information has to genuinely damage your reputation. It doesn't count if they get on the loudspeaker in their elementary school and announce that you're a duty head. It must be something that materially affects your reputation. Now, the 2 kinds of defamation are libel and slander. Libel is defamation in written form. An example of that would be if the kid went on social media and told everyone that they have pictures of you robbing an ATM. Slander is defamation in spoken form. An example of that would be if the kid called your workplace and told your boss that you're holding his dog for ransom. Now, to win a case like this, you'll need proof that the kid defamed you. So save that social media post or ask your boss to testify for you. And it's even better if you have proof that what they said is false. Except for being a duty head, that's a tough charge to beat. Moving on to number 2, sue that kid for causing personal injury. Now let's say that kid was negligent and something they did causes you injury that requires medical attention. For example, the kid puts a pile of dog poop in a paper bag and lights it on fire and leaves it on your porch and rings the doorbell, knowing that you're going to stomp on the bag to put out the fire. But they didn't know that there was a rusty nail inside the pile of dog poop, and when you stomp on it, the nail stabs you in the foot and you get a bad infection and you can't walk anymore. That would be a reason to sue. Now, the only challenge here is that the law requires that the negligence is not what a reasonable and prudent person would do in the same situation. So the question is, would a prudent child also throw poop on your porch? I don't know. Reason number 3, sue that kid for assault or battery. If the kid physically attacked you, like say he went crazy on a sugar high from eating a bunch of candy and just socked you in the mouth, then that's a good candidate for a lawsuit. Just make sure you have video evidence or a witness who saw a child beating you up. And don't worry, that definitely won't be super embarrassing for you. Reason number 4, sue that kid for copyright violation. That's right, your writing is your intellectual property, and the law protects it, even from children. So let's say you've been writing a poetry collection that you keep on your home computer, and one day the neighbor kid asks to use your bathroom, but then he hops onto the computer, finds your poems, and posts them all online for free to make fun of them with their friends. You should definitely sue that kid for copyright violation. Next up, Reason number 5, sue that kid for property damage. If they do something to your property that causes damage that must be paid for, then they could be on the hook for that damage. So if they keyed your car, or smeared chewing gum in your cat's fur, or set your lawn on fire, and you have proof of it, you better drag that kid into court, because you may have a great case. Now this next one is going to blow your mind. Reason number 6, sue that kid for trespassing. You know all those cliched jokes where old men stand on their porch shaking their fists and yelling, "You kids get off my lawn!" Well, turns out that it's true. If you say that, and you post a sign that says the same thing, then it means those kids have been warned. And if they keep coming onto your property after that, then you have everything you need to sue them for every dime that they don't yet have. And second to last, at number 7, sue that kid for breach of contract. That's right, you can sign a binding contract with a child. Should you do that? That's a whole other question, but you can. For example, let's say that you want to get rid of your current car so you can buy a different one. And it just so happens that the neighbor kid is rich because he has a trust fund. Which, makes sense, because only a rich kid would be as annoying as this kid has been. So he says he wants to buy your car, and you both sign the contract. But then, he just changes his mind and takes off, leaving you with the car and the contract. You now have to find someone else to buy that car. In that case, you can file suit against him for a breach of contract. He didn't fulfill his side of the contract. But this is where it gets tricky. Depending on what state you live in, most of them allow minors to disavow any contract that they've signed as long as they do it before they turn the legal age of majority. Disavow basically means they just get out of it with no problem. So while you can try to sue, in most states the kid can just change his mind because he's only 11 years old and the age of majority is usually between 18 and 21. So, should you maybe not sell your car to an 11-year-old to begin with? Sure, that's probably good advice, but hey, it was worth a try. And that brings us to the final option, number 8. Sue that kid for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now let's be honest, this kid has really put you through the ringer here. Mean-spirited lies, and flaming bags of poop, and pretending to buy your car, not to mention him punching you in the mouth. Now that could drive you crazy, and your therapist would probably agree with you, which means you can sue him. And unlike these other lawsuits we talked about, this one seems pretty strong. So, after all of this, maybe you win your case against this child. What will you get from it? Not much, other than revenge. But sometimes, it's worth it just to make sure all the neighborhood kids think twice before targeting your house for pranks on Halloween. And there you have it. 8 ways you can sue a child and have a reasonably good chance of winning. If you'd like to hear more interesting and probably useless legal facts, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching No Way That's Legal. We'll see you next time.